Hi, this is Bob Cavan, 2017 Greater San Diego Association of Realtors President. Welcome to the January edition of The Scoop. Today I'll be interviewing Frank Powell and Mark Powell, who are directors on the board of the Greater San Diego Association of Realtors. Frank and Mark are successful owners of the Powell Brother Realty, and both are involved with a number of community organizations around San Diego County. I have invited the Powell brothers on today's show because they have been in the real estate industry for over 20 years and have seen the marketplace go through some serious fluctuations in San Diego. As we all know, San Diego is a wonderful place to live because it offers a small town feel in a big city. A lot of people and families want to buy homes here, but there simply is not enough available homes to meet the current demand. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
A lot of people in San Diego would like to know, how did we get here, and when will the housing inventory shortage finally end? What is your opinions with respect to this?
Frank and I were born and raised in San Diego, so 55 years here in San Diego. We've seen the city change. It's my opinion that we got here for three reasons. One is the permit cost to actually build new housing. That's the first reason. We'll go into that a little bit more detail. Am I correct?
Right, correct.
The other
Permits,
one
for
is
sure.
There's a lot of neighborhoods that don't want any additional building because they feel that there's infrastructure is not built in. There's going to be too much traffic.
Correct. Pacific Beach, Mission Beach,
That's the
those.
second reason. And the third reason is San Diego is just a real desirable place to live, so people just flock here. So whenever you have a lot of people wanting a smaller inventory, prices will just generally go up.
Location. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Okay,
The desirability or
I want to
permits?
talk about the permits. So a study out of Point Loma Nazarene College, 42% on average of the cost to build a home is through permits. And so Frank can let's elaborate a little bit on why that is.
Okay, so I'm talking to people, they may own a couple acres in Hamul and they want to build a granny flat. They call them granny flats. Or it's just, somewhere someone else can live. So they start the permit process. They hire a contractor, he goes out there, he does the blueprints, architect, the design, the cost fees, the people are starting to pay for it. Then it goes into the permit process. And that's where, for certain people, it's a nightmare. It bogs down.
Well, what I heard happen is that they get an approval.
Correct.
And then the guy writes, the inspector writes things down. And,
go ahead, green light.
And then he goes back, or she goes back.
Oh, got to change this.
Or it's a different person.
That guy approved that he shouldn't have.
I'm going to go back out.
Well, it's obvious that I know over the last 5-6 years when we've looked at this secondary home or a commodary unit next to you so you could have your parents or your kids move in or rent it to somebody else for that matter, that there's only been about 12 built in the last 10 years in San Diego.
12.
And I presume that that's part of the reason why the state of California actually put into effect, starting on January 1st, that you were going to basically be able to build these by right. And if you met the requirements of the city, that there wasn't going to be this long delay. So do you think that we're going to get a lot more this year? People are going to take advantage of that? Is the city going to agree to that?
The city, in my opinion, the city will agree. And what that means is if you have a certain lot size, you can build a secondary house on it, commonly referred to as a granny flat or a guest house. Separate access and washer, dryer, appliances, all that.
Independent living. So here's how I feel about that. A lot of laws change. A lot of the city says, "Oh yeah, we're pro building," and the city does a lot for us. So I'm not trying to put them down, but there is a permit process that is just completely debunked. It doesn't work. There has to be an expedited way. You can't have someone waiting for their permit. Okay, here they are. They're waiting 4 months, 5 months, and then they go back and we have to change it. Another 6 months before.
I've been through it, and you know what happens? If
18 months later, you don't even have a nail.
He says the inspector says, "I'll be there at noon," and if for some reason he comes a little earlier and you're not there.
Bye-bye.
He leaves.
Correct.
And you get put. It's not like going to Costco. You don't get your spot in the line again. You have to go to the end of the line.
It's unbelievable. Right there. Why don't you just text me? You have so many ways of communicating.
I have no
Hey,
idea.
I'm coming in 5 minutes. I'm going to be there. But I've seen it.
It's ridiculous.
We've heard the mayor in his state of the city, and we've certainly talked to a lot of the people on the council. Everybody knows that this housing problem is significant in the city of San Diego and that we have to deal with it. The mayor has listed a number of points, all of them good. There's other things that could be done. But how are we going to change the culture of the staff And when it's layered also with all these environmental laws, that it isn't just the staff who have a difficult time with this, but they have their problems also trying to meet these laws.
A couple of the council members have worked out a way to incentivize performance at the city. Now, it's kind of a herd mentality where jobs get done because the entire staff worked on it. So what they've done was they had a program that said, can you tell us how we can streamline? We need ideas on how to streamline our city government. And if you give us an idea and we end up implementing it, we can reward you. And in fact, they did. Somebody came up with an idea of how to compact the trash in the landfills a little bit better. And they received incentives, a bonus for that, and they expended the life of Miramar landfill for another 10 years. So there are ways to incentivize good work with city government, just like they do in private industry, and also some talk about maybe privatizing certain sections of the permit process.
I'd like to make another suggestion with respect to it, because when I was a kid and when I was young and building back in the 60s and 70s, there was never a shortage of homes. There was plenty. Anybody who wanted to live here, the rent was reasonable. Because the cost to build it was reasonable.
Right.
At that point in time, we had zoning in the city, and you were able to build by right. If you had R3 or R4 zoning, and you wanted to build an apartment house, you went down to the city hall, and you met the height requirements, the setback requirements, and everything that was needed. You got a building permit, and you could start in 2 weeks.
Right.
Now, sometimes it's 5-10 years to be able to get this moving forward because of the environmental restrictions and so on and so forth. How do we get this back? Because we are spending to the tune of $2 and $3 million on each one of these community plans that they're updating, and they're updating a couple of them right now. How do we get them to put master EIRs, environmental impact reports, into those community plans so that we can have a build by right? Because really this delay, and it's eliminating a lot of people from being able to build in the first place. They won't even stay here in San Diego to build. But it's what's driving the cost almost more than the fees. While the fees are expensive, you can't expect people to wait 5-6 years to get a project approved.
Ironically, even if the permit process was streamlined and we did get this down to an affordable price, there's many people who don't want building in their neighborhoods. They're adamantly against having more homes. A lot of it has to do with the frustration of driving on the roadways, infrastructure, lack of public transportation. So it has to be the people. The people have to want affordable housing, and those people have to vote for those representatives that are in line with their views. But when you have things, for example, like Lilac Ranch that tried for a decade to get a project in, they even put it on the ballot and it's voted down, it looks like for as far as the people in San Diego, it's not a huge priority yet.
Tell me this. We keep hearing that San Diego is the most expensive city in California for rents and the most expensive city for pricing of housing. But I go to San Francisco and the same house is double in San Francisco. How are we going to deal with that problem? And why do they say that this is the most expensive? What's the rationale behind that?
The mayor has been working diligently on recruiting businesses to come to San Diego from the Silicon Valley area, so that they can bring those kind of jobs that can afford
the housing.
You have to make I believe it's $120,000 a year to afford a $450,000 home.
But that's the challenge that it has, because the people that already live here, that want their kids to live here, are out. So it's kind of like, okay, the mayor has to go and import people that make more money. Well, what happens to those people that really want to be here, the San Diegans?
Right.
They're getting kicked out. So it's a culture clash. And the reason why it happens in San Francisco, I believe, and not here yet, is because San Francisco is a lot older city. People already know that it's been years and years and years where people have to move up and live in a smaller area and not get a parking spot. Their culture accepts it. They know it. But here, we haven't accepted that yet. We're going, no way, I want a 2-acre lot. I don't want a neighbor. I don't want anything built. Don't obstruct my view. I bought this house to look at the ocean. I don't want something above me. and you're going to get these fights in these little neighborhoods, and you're going to get the pressure on the politicians. So it's something that we have to discuss now.
Not
It's the
in my
NIMBYs,
backyard.
not in
No.
my backyard.
They don't
So,
want
I
it.
want the trolley here so we can bring in more people, more affordable. I don't want the trolley that's going to increase the traffic.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a traffic jam. I want easy access to the freeway. You sold me this property because you
But
promised.
you know what, Bob? Bob came up with a really good plan about it's called a tax.
Property tax portability.
Yeah, if you
Okay, so that's one
But let's hear
solution
about
that can
solution
work.
because that solution is good. So tell us about it.
What we've been doing, and I've been working on this for the last 10 years since I was chair of the taxation committee at the California Association of Realtors. And that would be that everybody who sells a property can carry their property tax basis, because right now we have many people in San Diego that refuse to sell their residence on the basis that their property tax is going to go up significantly. And I know the politicians say, well, you sell your house and it's for $500,000, but you're paying it based upon $200,000. You could move up to an $800,000 house. Well, they're gonna lose that old property tax basis, and now they're paying an extra $5,000, $6,000 in property taxes.
And on a fixed income,
Right.
can't
It's
do
tough.
it.
To most people who live here, that's significant. That's prohibitive, and it precludes them from moving. What this system and this plan would do, and I've been working with the California Association of Realtors with respect to this, what it would do is if you have a $200,000 property tax basis and you sell your house for $5,000 and you want to buy one for $6,000 or $7,000, for the first $500,000, you'd carry over the $200,000, and then you would add to that the amount over the sales price.
Makes sense.
And so now your assessed value would be $300,000 or $400,000, and it would not be the $600,000 or $700,000.
What would that do to Proposition 13?
Well, I think it would be very positive for Proposition 13, and I've certainly had the discussions personally with John Kupal, who runs Prop 13. He has no problem with it. I've talked to Lenny Goldberg, who lobbies for the labor unions, the teachers, the firemen, and the police, and they say if you can show that that'll break even and produce at least the same revenue or additional revenue, we're all for it. We're working on those studies right now. We hope to have those done later this year, but this is a way to create a move-up
Right,
market
that's a good-
because we don't have a move-up market.
Right.
People are not moving from their houses,
Right.
and so consequently they're trying to remodel, put a little room over the garage, and working with that. That's not
It'd
what
free
is
up a lot
best.
of homes, wouldn't it?
It would free
Right.
up a lot
Well,
of
that's a good
homes.
way.
Okay, so
That's how you do it.
that's what I like, because we could talk all day, like the EPA wants to save the desert tortoise, they want to save the
Right.
burrowing owl, and we all agree with that. We all love our animals. Born and raised here, I'm a nature guy. However, that's a great solution. So
That's a practical solution.
practical.
That would work.
When can we see this? Because it's hard for me to explain
But
the
look,
taxes.
Frank,
Wait, hold
also-
on, because if you would get out there, you could sell this, and people would want it. There's hundreds of thousands of baby boomers. All the baby boomers are right now. They have the money, they have the houses. That if they heard that idea, they wouldn't be so scared. They wouldn't be worried about everyone voting against Prop 13. Who's the next politician? Is he for or against getting rid of Prop 13? That seems like it would answer both Prop 13 and a new way.
But look, Frank, it's something else. It didn't happen overnight. So now he has 10 years into it. So we got to get the word out. This is something that
I agree.
it's going to work.
That's
and
huge.
once you get the report out, I think it's going to.
I really hope that when we get our study done, that we will get the legislature to put it on the ballot. But our association, the California Association of Realtors, has vowed to put it on the ballot in November of 2018. But between now and then, we've got to do the studies and show how much more revenue this is going to produce, and then maybe we can have all sides, and it'll cost our association a lot less money. We'll have a legislature saying this is a good fix, and maybe we can get a 70 or 80 or 90%.
Imagine what it would do to our association members.
It would create.
It would create so many jobs. Correct. It would double the inventory overnight. All these people that are so scared about the marketing, when's going to be my next sale, because that's what people are worried about. People are using the internet more. Are they going to cut us out? That would be a benefit for everybody, especially us. And we want to do what's good for the realtors as well.
That probably is the best plan for affordable housing that's anywhere in
Bar
the state
none.
of California.
Bar none.
That's the best plan.
Well, I think that this was a really great discussion. I look forward to many more throughout the year, and I really want to thank you guys for being here. This
we
is just
appreciate it.
terrific.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, the thing is, we still have to continue this discussion. Mark and I'll be the chair of the Political Action Committee. I'm going to go in front of the City Council. We have to keep going because the older this generation gets, everyone's getting more nervous. Where am I going to live? How am I going to move back? How am I going to take care of this house? How can I expand? We're talking Airbnb. That's another issue because they want to subsidize their income. So this is a number one issue that should be over and over and over spoken about because that's what the people want.
This is going to bring our kids back to San Diego.
Yes.
Correct.
Good. Thank you.
I want to ask you one final question.
Yes.
What is your prediction for the housing market for 2017 with the new administration in Washington?
I'm guessing. So it's speculation based upon what I've seen. Interest rates are going to notch up a little bit, but I believe that the Trump administration may start taking out sections of the Dodd-Frank restrictions on lending. Not all of them, because some of them were in there for a reason because of the way the
Absolutely.
lenders were behaving. And the market was going a little bit crazy.
That's a great answer. And I think with these types of things in the future, we're going to see a lot more people being able to get into
Yes.
the housing market.
Agreed.
And I think what you're saying with the lenders is we want to get it back to the good old days. And those good old days were where the banker talked to you, he understood you.
Right.
You could tell him the story. It wasn't just you filled out these boxes.
Exactly.
Correct.
And we just have to be Americans
Personal
and work together.
relationship again.
Correct.
I mean, that's what we're trying to do here at the San Diego Association of Realtors. We're trying to work with the politicians. We want to work with them. We want to help them.
Correct.
Because they want to help us. And I really love the openness of the society and the talking and everything that everybody's trying to come together and trying to solve problems. This is like the greatest thing ever. And if we can continue this for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, we're going to have that affordable housing market. We're going to have a great real estate market. And we're all going to be able to have our families here if they want to be here.
That's nice. I
So
agree.
terrific.
Thank you.
Make San Diego's homes more affordable again. That's what he should do, okay? We want those houses back. We want people to...
I think that's a great conclusion.
Yeah, I got
Guys,
it.
thank you very, very much. It
Thank
was
you
an
very much.
absolute pleasure having you here today.
Thank you. Congratulations on your
Congratulations.
presidency.
Thank you again, Frank and Mark, for taking the time to meet with us today. San Diego Association of Realtors looks forward to continuing to focus on proving the inventory issue throughout 2017. I'm Bob Cavan, your president for 2017, and thank you for watching this edition of The Scoop.